He's the champion who has been labeled the fastest moving heavyweight in the entire history of 1 century of world heavyweight champion.
I wouldn't want to do too much bragging about it, but everybody that watches me fight or everybody that has witnessed one of my bouts, they say that I am the greatest that they've ever seen.
More than just a boxer,
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
he was a cultural icon, a revolutionary,
Muhammad Ali struck us in the middle of America's darkest night, in the heart of its most threatening gathering storm.
And I will say here boldly, now on television, no.
I am the king of the world. Hold it. I'm pretty. Hold it, you're not that pretty. I'm a bad man. Wait. I shook up the world.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
But to live in his time, watching his fights, experiencing the genius of his talent was absolutely extraordinary.
The crowd did not dream when they laid down their money that Ali would retire, Floyd and Sonny.
I'm only bold and cocky before and after fight.
Let me see you close your mouth and just keep it closed.
Well, you know that's impossible.
No, keep it closed.
You know that's impossible. I'm the greatest. And I'm knocking out all bones. And if you get too small, I'll knock you out.
A heavyweight who moved as quickly, like a lightweight, quicker than a lightweight, used his legs. And then what he did outside the ring transcended what he did inside the ring.
He would be with kings and queens, presidents.
The greatest, the champ, Muhammad Ali.
And then turn around and be with the poorest person on this earth.
Who's the greatest? Who's the prettiest?
He was beautiful. He was the most perfect athlete you ever saw, and those were his own words.
This is the legend of Cassius Clay, the most beautiful fighter in the world today. A fusillade of punches by Muhammad Ali. London.
My friends, only once in 1,000 years or so do we get to hear a Mozart, see a Picasso, read a Shakespeare. Ali was one of them.
I am the greatest.
But as Muhammad Ali once said, it's not bragging if you can back it up.
Muhammad Ali, the greatest. Muhammad Ali was born Cassius Clay and raised in Louisville, Kentucky.
You find yourself thinking back ever to how it all started for you as a kid in Louisville, how you became a fighter?
How I became a fighter? Somebody stole my bicycle and I wanted to learn how to fight so I could beat up the boy who stole it.
I started about 6 years ago. My bicycle was stolen and my cousin was a boxer.
And so he was going to whip whoever found him, so I brought up the subject. I said, well, you better learn how to fight before you start challenging people that you're going to whip.
And he told me that he would train me. If I ever catch the guy that stole my bicycle, I could defend myself.
The course of boxing and perhaps even world history altered by way of bike theft.
Anyway, he took me to the gym and he quit later, but I kept it up.
And so began Clay's road to glory.
I had a show on television every week, Amateur Boxing, Tomorrow's Champions. Well, with a short time, I put him on that show, and that was his first boxing match was on television.
As an amateur, Cassius Clay compiled a record of 100 wins and 5 defeats.
Cassius Marcellus Clay stepped into the ring in April of 1959 for the Pan American Amateur Boxing Trials.
You said yourself you're rather a pretty boy, aren't you?
Prettiest fight in the ring today. 180 amateur fights when I'm as pretty as you and you don't fight.
Two-time United States AAU champion, international Pan American game champion, national AAU champion 59 and 60.
As an amateur, Clay won the National AAU Light Heavyweight and the Golden Gloves Heavyweight crown.
This particular fight with Allen Hudson was for the United States Light Heavyweight Golden Glove Championship.
Now it's time to turn the tables. After a brief flurry by Hudson, it's Clay's chance to go to work.
He won multiple national championships, including the Golden Gloves and the AAU title.
Clay's arm is raised in victory, but Hudson's down again this time just because his legs won't hold him up.
1960, the Rome Olympics. The world is about to be formally introduced to Cassius Clay.
But the most popular USA winner was the light-hearted Cassius Marcellus Clay V.
The world was his stage, and wherever he went, that became his stage.
It's August 18th, 1960. Cassius Clay of the United States takes on Ziggy Petrikowski of Poland in the finals of the Olympic Light Heavyweight Boxing Championship in Rome.
The 60s were a decade which in many ways belonged to Muhammad Ali.
The strength, the courage, the footprint of Muhammad Ali, formerly Cassius Clay.
Cassius Clay of the United States comes out in the light trunks. Pietrkowski of Poland is in dark.
There is no rival to it in sports. There is nothing that compares today in our sports world.
And there's the bell ending the fight.
Clay took home the gold medal.
Just moments later in the award ceremony, the fighters take their places on the victory stand.
For 18 years of age, from Sizo, we're going to hear a lot more of this young man, I say.
Cassius Clay has presented the coveted gold medal. A magnificent conclusion to the 1960 Rome Olympics.
6 years after somebody stole his bike in Kentucky, he was the Olympic champion.
Well, yes, sir, I was thinking about signing for a while. For an example, right now I'm the world's amateur light heavyweight champion and I'm broke.
He was now a national sensation, an Olympic hero, ready to become the next great pro.
How many fights you had? About 180 amateur fights, lost 3. That was my first 3, by the way. Yeah. Have you ever been knocked out? Have you ever been knocked out? Never dreamed of being knocked out.
Despite being on television and adored by fans, he was still treated as a second-class citizen.
I always had some mystical idea that if I could become a big black man in the southern city, I could be treated different, or maybe I could have powers to open doors.
Muhammad Ali had his gold medal around his neck, went to a restaurant downtown here to get some food. They wouldn't serve him.
They put me out of that restaurant. I said, this medal ain't worth a damn.
Having an Olympic gold medal didn't change a thing for Clay.
Muhammad Ali, in 1960, you won a gold medal at the Rome Olympics. Then apparently a few months later, you stood on a bridge on the Ohio River and threw it away.
He famously threw his gold medal into the river, marking a change in the way he was going to approach his future.
An 18-year-old amateur boxing champion with a charming smile took a physical examination for his first professional fight.
He was set to make his pro debut.
That evening, Tony Hunsaker was to go into the record book as the first professional opponent of the slick boxing Cassius Clay. Weighing only 182 pounds, light for a heavyweight.
I thought he was too awkward, pull back from punches, fast hand, don't move. They thought, too much.
He made a show of his first fight.
Cassius turned pro in October of 1960 and defeated Tony Hunsaker.
One of the issues that the older sports writers had with him was his unorthodox style.
Easily winning his professional debut with a flashy, unanimous decision.
After his electrifying pro debut, Clay called now legendary trainer Angelo Dundee.
I called him up. I said, I'm the world's greatest fighter. I'm going to be the world's greatest champion. I'm now the Olympic champion. I'm the Gold Glove champion, AAU champion. I want to talk to you.
Dundee ran a gym out of Miami.
And then after I signed up, I went to Florida to start training with him.
The sun-soaked city was about to become home to the greatest.
I was mainly concentrating on my legs, getting in and getting out, because my defense is in my dancing ability. And if I'm right on my toes, I don't have too much trouble with getting hit.
It was just a grimy working place. It had a feel that you can't get anywhere else except in a boxing gym.
And presenting from Louisville, Kentucky, weighing 192.5 pounds, Cassius Clay.
Showcasing the skills that would make him an icon.
Clay, wearing the white trunks, is using his speed of foot to stick and move. Clay staggered Clark with that combination. Clock is down.
Clay rattled off a series of impressive wins.
Clay doesn't punch flat-footed, but those combinations sure pack a lot of cumulative wallet. Clock is down. Those 4 punches landed in under a second and a half. The fans realize that it's all over, and Cassius Clay celebrates another KO victory.
Cassius, how do you rate yourself as a fighter?
Well, I wouldn't want to do too much bragging about it, but everybody that watches me fight or everybody that has witnessed one of my bouts, they say that I am the greatest that they've ever seen.
While fighting in Vegas, Clay shared a venue with famed wrestler Gorgeous George. Inspired by Gorgeous George, Ali realized people would pay big money to watch someone they rooted against. And so, he adopted a persona designed to ruffle some feathers.
I've been all over the country. I can't pay a chump to get in the ring with me.
There wasn't much that the older generation liked about Cassius Clay. The way he dissed them, laughed at their questions.
But he tells funny poems. He tells you how great he is to have written them, how great a fighter he is. And he's the greatest of all time. That rubs some people the wrong way.
He might be big and he might be tall, but if he mess with me, he sure will fall.
Loud and cocky, the Louisville Lip was born.
Tonight's 10-rounder from the Kentucky Fair and Exposition Center in Louisville, Kentucky, brings together Cassius Clay, 1960 Olympic boxing champion. The 19-year-old Clay has made a great start as a professional. He's won all 7 of his fights, 5 of them by knockout.
Clay's braggadocious behavior made him unpopular among sports writers around the country.
Angelo used to say, this kid does everything wrong, but it comes out right.
Everybody wanted to see this kid because he was something new, something bright. I mean, he let me tell you, he wanted to be a fighter. He was just walking in the gym, he would light it up. He was that kind of young man.
I'm too fast. Champion from the king. King the champ. Star champ from the crib. Ah!
Many were eager to witness the loudmouth kid get knocked out. There was just one problem. Clay kept winning.
Now Metcalf is very puffy around the left side.
And had scintillating, extraordinary speed with his hands, his feet. I mean, just move all night long. All night long would move.
That's Metcalf down. 3, 4, 5. It's a knockout victory for Cassius Clay. That's Alex Metcalf.
And the winner by a TKO, Cassius Clay.
This is what they really loved, the ballet of the feet. Clay, more than any other heavyweight in history, fights with his feet as much as with his wrists, shoulders, hands, arms.
Before he came along, it wasn't thought that men of 15 stone or more could be light on their feet.
Picking apart one fighter after the next with otherworldly speed.
You're going to see a fast fighter in Cassius Clay.
You know, you pull back. You're not supposed to pull back.
Clay has great speed, quick hands.
You're not supposed to drop your hands. He broke all the rules, the conventional rules. The textbook on boxing, do's and don'ts. He did all that. He made wrong right. How many guys are great enough to make wrong right? He was. He was.
I'm here to tell you all, you think I'm just talking? You think I'm just running my mouth?
With each win, more and more reporters turned out to get a quote from the Lip.
He saw the publicity it brought. And what did the publicity equal? A larger and larger presence on the American stage.
Is this self-confidence in yourself perhaps a publicity gimmick, as I understood and as I've met you now?
A lot of people think it's a publicity gimmick, but you can call it what you want.
He said he was the greatest before
he actually was the greatest. He wasn't saying he's the greatest before he got the title. He was saying it from day one.
Cassius Marcellus Clay is but 20 years old, but he's making a strong imprint on the sport of pugilism. As a professional, he has won all 10 bouts, scoring 7 knockouts. Round 1, 10 rounds scheduled. Clay in the white trunks and Banks in black.
I knew that night there was greatness in Muhammad Ali because he got in there with a perfect left hook.
There goes Clay on the floor. He's got to take the
He was
mandatory
out on the way down. He woke up. That's when I knew I had a guy with greatness.
Banks smelled blood in the water. But Clay's skill was too much. Once he recovered, Banks was an easy target.
That's a knockdown, all right. A flash knockdown, just like the one that floored Clay in round 1. Now the knockdowns are even. 15 seconds to go in the round.
He moved, he threw combinations and his speed faster than lightweights.
Goldstein is stopping the fight, that's all. A knockout for Cassius Clay.
It was rather embarrassing me on the floor. And as you know, I think that I'm the greatest, and I'm not supposed to be on the floor, so I had to get up and put him on out in 4, as I predicted.
But he created a style inside and outside the ring.
He did everything what they would characterize as being wrong, fundamentally. Kept his hands down, he swayed back and forth, he pulled out of punches just by millimeters.
Cassius did things all wrong from a technical point of view, but he could get away with them because of his speed.
That's all. Marchand is stopping it. And Clay continues undefeated, having won 14 in a row now. Daniels has won 16 and lost 1 by a TKO.
I think he could be a good fighter if he control his egotism and confine himself to serious training.
I'm only bold and cocky before and after fight.
Let me see you close your mouth and just keep it closed.
Well, you know that's impossible.
No, keep it closed.
You know that's impossible. I'm the greatest. And I'm knocking out all bums. And if you get too small, I'll knock you out.
Clay's poetic pre-fight trash talk turned into prophecy. He became known for predicting the round he would dispatch his opposition.
During the ensuing weeks, Clay has boasted that Moore would be stopped in 4 tonight.
And again, Clay celebrates.
Moore is sent to the canvas again by a barrage of punches. And it's all over. Tommy Hart stops the bout.
Moore in 4, just as predicted.
In about 1 minute and 30 seconds of the 4th round.
Doug Jones, we're going to fight him on March 13th, and poetically you've said where? What?
Well, Doug Jones presently is ranked number 3 in the top 10 heavyweights of the world. I'm ranked number 2.
It was the 13th time in 14 knockouts that Clay had correctly predicted the round he'd win.
I got a 2-inch piece of tape and put it over his mouth when we were going to the weigh-in.
Leaning into the Lip nickname, Clay was a promotional pioneer.
Cassius Clay of Louisville, Kentucky in white trunks, and Doug Jones of New York City in the dark trunks. Cassius has his sights set on Sonny Liston, the world heavyweight champion.
One of a kind, totally unique, special, game-changing human being.
A tremendous job of physical conditioning by Angelo Dundee in the case of Cassius Clay at home we're looking now.
The decision is that the winner is Cassius Clay.
Let me finish. Let me talk. This boy's modest. I'm the greatest. He's not a talker. I'm going to fight Sonny Liston right after I annihilate Henry Cooper.
Henry Cooper was the popular British champ and a known brawler.
If the fight's as good as he can chant, well, it's going to be a good fight for the public. That's all I can say.
Well, are you going to finish Henry Cooper so quickly as you said?
Cooper will fall in 5.
A true test for the speedy Clay. Over 55,000 fans crammed into Wembley to watch their champion quiet the braggadocious kid.
Cassius Clay, the gimmick man to the last, comes into the ring with this monster crown on his head, and all the way down to the ringside, people were throwing things and trying to knock the crown off his head.
Clay relished playing the part of the heel. He walked into the ring to a chorus of boos.
Shake hands, and when the bell rings, come out boxing, and may the best man win.
And Clay said, I'll beat him in 5. We'll see. So here we go. The fight of the year, Clay from the right-hand corner against Cooper of Britain. Cooper has come out full of fight.
Cooper immediately turned to dirty tactics, trying to hold Clay's arms. The tactic worked, allowing Cooper to land some early shots.
And now Clay is arguing with the referee that Cooper's trying to hold him and he's getting angry.
Clay was angered and grew a little reckless as a result.
Clay has gone fighting mad. Clay now, look at him, he's got his arms down, he's contemptuously treating Cooper, his arms are down by his hips.
Cooper connected clean with a powerful left hook. For the first time in his career, Clay was hurt.
Well, you remember when Henry Cooper knocked down Ali?
That was like the biggest thing in the UK ever.
Hurt him bad.
The bell has sounded, and he's up at about 3, Clay. That was the end of the 4th round, and he hit him about 2 seconds before the end of the round. He's still half out, Clay.
The most courageous fighter I ever watched, I ever studied.
Clay came out attacking in the 5th.
And now we come to round 5, and now round 5 is the round in which Clay said he would beat Cooper, but now this crowd at Wembley are beginning to bay for a Cooper win.
Clay sniped the cut over his eye, over and over again.
Cooper's left eye is pouring blood. Gum shoots flying out. Henry is dripping blood. It's round 5. And now he's slipping in, and I think this is it. The towel has come in from Cooper's corner, and Tommy Little's looking at it, and he's had to stop the fight. It's all over in round 5, and Clay is getting bombarded with programs from angry ringsiders.
Cooper's corner threw in the towel, and Clay had won in 5, just as predicted. Clay was now ready to take aim at history.
I watched him here in the gym a few months ago when he was here to fight Howard King. And he can hit a guy in the elbows and just about break his arm.
Liston was a virtually invincible, just a dreadnought of a fighter.
Liston was a great fighter. I seen him knock out a guy's teeth one night. It's the truth. There's no baloney. Hit him so hard, he dislodged the mouthpiece and the teeth went with the mouthpiece.
He had this very forbidding, intimidating, utterly hostile manner about him.
Liston was considered to be Godzilla. He was going to reign for 1,000 years.
He sought out heavyweight champion Sonny Liston.
Heavyweight boxing champion, Sonny Liston.
Do you really think you can beat Sonny Liston? I don't think I can beat him. I know I can beat him. I want that big, ugly bear, Sonny Liston. I want him bad, and I can't wait. And he must fall in 8 to prove that I am great.
This is the fight that everyone has been clamoring for, and as of this minute, it is now official. The fight is over. Annihilation is over.
In the lead up to the fight, Clay was spotted frequently with Malcolm X.
The rumors began to swirl leading up to the Liston fight that Cassius had been clearly seen in the company of Malcolm X. That really deeply shook a number of insiders in the sports media.
Malcolm X, who had taught himself to read in jail, discovered the world of ideas, and who had exploded on the scene as the most articulate and dynamic Negro leader since Frederick Douglass.
I want to talk with you briefly about your affiliation with Cassius. How long have you known him? About 3 years.
I'm handsome, I'm fast, I'm pretty, and can't possibly be beat.
Liston was seen as invincible.
Liston, almost the first time he hits him. Could be 1, perhaps 2. I'll take 1.
Clay announced he joined the Muslim religion, sparking even more controversy.
Cassius Clay decided to announce that morning he had joined the Black Muslim religion, an unpopular militant group.
Cassius, controversy, not controversy, but there's great interest in the fact that you have joined the Muslim religion. How long have you had this interest, Cassius? Oh, for the past 6 years, I would say.
Clay's behavior got into Sonny's head. Everyone else had feared him, But not this loudmouth kid.
Now we'll see the craziest weigh-in in all boxing history.
You don't want to make Sonny mad. Sonny's bad enough when he's not mad. And I agreed to that all the way up, and then he hit the door.
Clay said anybody would have to be afraid of a crazy man.
It was all part of young Clay's master plan.
Cassius was smart, and he was clever. And he could get under Liston's skin more so than anybody ever.
I saw Sonny Liston a few days ago, Cassius.
Ain't he ugly? He's too ugly to be the world's champ. The world's champ should be pretty like me.
Well, he told me to bet my life that you wouldn't go 3 rounds.
Well, if you want to lose your money, then bet on Sonny.
Via Theater Network Television in over 350 locations tonight, you'll be seeing this all-important fight.
This had to be somebody who was whistling past the graveyard, somebody who had to be scared, who was trying to keep his courage up before he was destroyed.
The only way he could beat Liston was with a machine gun, and even that was doubtful.
As for Clay's chances against Sonny Liston, the sports world expected the lip would be shut up in brutal fashion. Clay was the most controversial, polarizing figure in sports.
Cassius Clay! Clay!
And now, he was going to be taught his place.
Cassius Clay on the move as we see, looking to get Sonny to run, carrying his left hand dangerously low. Very slippery.
Greatest of all time, greatest athlete, ambassador, human being of all time.
From the opening bell, Clay danced circles around the bear.
The challenger is jabbing all over body and at right hand. The best punch of the fight so look at the guy yawning. Tell us what you think at the end of one.
Well, Steve, I think this was the greatest round of any fight we've seen in a long time, because I think Clay completely hot Clay Sonny Liston in this round.
Sonny Robo.
It was a master class in the sweet science.
Cassius has him hurt.
Clay battered Liston into submission.
Sonny has a big mouth below his left eye, and he's getting hit with all the punches in the book.
6th round, when Liston went back to his corner, Liston was a beaten man.
What do you think is going on in Sonny's mind at this point?
Liston didn't come up and answer the bell. The doctor stopped it because they were complaining about the shoulder.
They might be stopping it. That might be all, ladies and gentlemen.
I think maybe back of his mind, he thought he was going to get knocked out.
Sonny Liston's not coming out! Sonny Liston is not coming out! He's out! The winner and the new heavyweight champion of the world is Cassius Clay. Life's ongoing.
And in 1964, he became heavyweight champion of the world, upsetting Sonny Liston, the 7-1 favorite.
Electrified, and there he was right in front of me and a whole bunch of other newspaper men pointing down to us like this. I told you exactly what I was going to do.
And nobody, even the big sports writers, they were in awe over what he had done.
So great, I don't have a mark on my face, and I upset Sonny Liston, and I just turned 22 years old. I must be the greatest. I am the king of the world. Hold it. I'm pretty.
Hold it, you're not that pretty.
I'm a bad man. Wait. I shook up the world.
Clay had done it, much to the annoyance of the boxing establishment.
Had Liston gotten by and escaped with a victory that night, the powers that be never would have allowed Cassius Clay to fight for the heavyweight championship of the world again.
Who's the greatest? Who's the greatest? You notice they don't say nothing.
He said he was the greatest. All of the odds were against him. He upset the odds makers. He won. He became victorious. He became the champ.
Cassius Clay is a name no more. Is that right?
Yes, sir. It's Muhammad Ali. Muhammad means worthy of all praises, and Ali means most high in the Asian African language.
Officially Muhammad Ali now. Muhammad Ali, right. Muhammad Ali. That's my name.
After upsetting the world by dethroning the Bear Sonny Liston, Clay dialed up the heat, announcing proudly he was changing his name. From now on, he would be known as Muhammad Ali.
Now, for the first time in his career, Clay began to draw a bad press. Almost unanimously, the sports writers of the country turned against him.
Ali's name change made him even more of a pariah among the mainstream. The Boxing Commission was even threatening to strip him of his title.
The title does not belong to the title holder.
The title belongs to the World Boxing Association.
We no longer had Cassius Clay. We now had Muhammad Ali.
My name is Muhammad. Y'all keep calling me Cassius. I'm tired of telling you. You know, you're intelligent. My name is Muhammad Ali.
What do you think of Cassius's victory in Miami?
I think it was a great victory. He proved he was the best man.
Before the rematch with Liston, Malcolm X was gunned down.
February 21st, 1965, Malcolm X was assassinated, causing interracial tensions across the country.
The nation was coming apart at the seams. Ali's involvement with Malcolm X turned him into a face of America's growing tensions.
What do you think about Muhammad Ali, former Cassius Clay? Do you think you can beat him?
Yes, I do.
Many observers had thought Ali's victory in the first Liston bout was a fluke. The ex-champ was a 9-5 favorite going into the rematch.
The rematch with Sonny Liston was moved to Maine, as few cities expressed interest in hosting Ali. Again, Liston was heavily favored, and again, the media couldn't wait to be finished with Ali.
The challenger, Sonny Liston. His opponent, the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali.
15 rounds or less. The world heavyweight title, the big fight, the big night, round number 1. Here we go.
When the fight began, Ali danced around the ring.
You'll note that Cassius wants to stay out in the center of the ring where he happens to be the king.
Muhammad threw, I don't know, maybe 4 punches at most.
He sized up the bear, and with one punch, Sonny Liston went down. The press began calling it the Phantom Punch, implying foul play.
All that said, and everyone likes to talk about the impact he had outside of the ring, it simply wouldn't have had the same kind of force had he not done the impossible inside the ring. It was impossible to beat Sonny Liston. That was just never going to happen. All the kind of resonance now of his life outside the ring, I think, was amplified by the fact that he was, in fact, the greatest heavyweight who ever lived.
1 minute of the first round, the winner by a knockout, and still the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali.
The crowd was less than pleased with the quick outcome.
He got hit hard. I hit him with a punch that Jack Johnson used called the anchor punch. And this is a punch that Jack Johnson took to the graveyard with him. Nobody knew it but Stephen Fetchert. And it's a twist-like chop right hand that is hard to see.
From the time the punch started to the where it landed, it was 4/100ths of a second, which is an eye blink. Like a camera flash, that's 400ths of a second. Now, the minute I hit Sonny Liston, all of those people blinked at that moment. That's why they didn't see it.
When a youngster named Cassius Clay took Sonny Liston's heavyweight title in 1964, boxing received a long overdue shot in the arm. The vocal, controversial Clay left a trail of reporters in his wake for the next 9 years.
Ali would next take on Floyd Patterson. Patterson refused to call Ali by his new name and bashed the champ for his faith.
Patterson announced he wanted to reclaim the title for America, attacking Ali's patriotism and his conversion to the Nation of Islam by refusing to call the champ Muhammad Ali, insisting upon Cassius Clay.
Ali took this personally and made a point to embarrass Patterson.
You must be aware of the fact that Patterson has become a kind of sentimental hero in this country because of
I want him to be the hero. I want everybody to cheer him, and I want them all to boo me. This gives me more strength, and it makes me fight harder, and the win feels much bigger when I feel that I have defeated everyone betting on him, too.
The champion just moves, dances, glides, and slides. This man fires in every direction.
The crowd did not dream when they laid down their money that Ali would retire. Floyd and Sonny.
When Muhammad Ali got him in the ring, he became pretty cruel in his beating of Floyd.
He carried Patterson 12 rounds before enough was enough.
What about the time I fought Floyd Patterson? I mean, he couldn't hit me.
Floyd found it very hard to slip that fast left lead.
I mean, I actually played with him. I beat him in the wheel. I didn't really hurt him, but they stopped the fight because it wasn't even no contest.
And that's it. Referee Krause stops the fight. 2 minutes, 18 seconds of round 12. TKO. Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay.
Again, the crowd was less than pleased to see Ali win.
For years, many news outlets refused to refer to the boxer by his new name.
Cassius, you're talking. I'm not Cassius. He's still calling me. I can't go Mohammed, you're talking. I'm not a white man. I have to talk to Gerald. You want to keep calling me a white man's name? I'm not white. I don't want to be called after your name no more. I'm not no slave. I'm Muhammad Ali.
With America's contentious involvement in Southeast Asia growing, more and more young men were being forced into service. Ali was suddenly reclassified by the government and made draft eligible.
After Ali was declared eligible for the draft on February 17, 1966, Ali finally replied, "I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong."
This prompted Ali to declare if he were drafted, he would not be going.
Announced his refusal to fight in Vietnam.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. arrived to stand beside Ali.
My views on the draft are very clear. I'm against it. And I think the sooner our country does away with the draft, the better it will be for everybody. I'm very disturbed about the militaristic posture of our nation.
When he basically said, "I ain't going," a lot of us were kind of like, "Yeah, baby, I ain't going either. I'm just trying to figure out another way of doing it."
As you viewers know, there is absolutely no secret about the fact that Muhammad Ali, or Cassius Clay as you will, has become one of the most controversial personalities in this entire country.
And no one in the States, including promoters, wanted anything to do with the champ.
Virtually every city of note put out pronouncements that they wouldn't allow the fight in their city. We ended up in Toronto.
The powers that be set about making an example of Ali so that no others would dare follow his reckless path. Now blacklisted in the U.S.
His left eye is beginning to swell. That's from the left jab of the champion.
Ali scrambled to find any location that would allow him to host a match. As a result, he fought his next 4 fights in Europe and Canada. He won a unanimous decision in his next outing.
This is the hotel where Muhammad Ali, or Cassius Clay as you will, the heavyweight champion of the world, is in training for the defense of his crown.
Ali returned to Vegas to train, but found no takers for a fight in the States. He headed overseas to fight a rematch against British champion Henry Cooper.
The controversial Ali headed overseas to find opponents. Between May and September of 1966, he defended his title 3 times, all in Europe.
Ali's fights were drawing record crowds, much to the chagrin of the boxing powers.
Muhammad the Meek, because that's his new pose, began to walk the streets of London. Muhammad Ali likes to do this. He likes the adulation that he's getting in London town. People in London don't view him the way so many in America do.
With Vietnam raging in the background, Muhammad Ali was no longer just a boxer, and his fights were no longer just sport.
And there's the bell for round 1.
While his stance was really unpopular in the main, he became not only the hero of the black people, but of the young white people.
Just like the first fight, Ali opened a cut over Cooper's eye.
Good look at it, because it is a terrible looking eye. Above the left eye, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, it's a disappointing thing coming at about 1 minute and 45 seconds of the 6th round. The champion is still champion in this 110th World Heavyweight Championship fight ever staged since Jeffries and Corbin.
Three weeks before the fight, Ali is in serious training prior to leaving for England.
He was meant to be a pariah. Instead, he had become a counterculture hero. It didn't matter where the fights were. Ali was a class above the competition.
Muhammad Ali is defending his World Heavyweight Championship in London, England against European heavyweight title holder Ryan London. A sharp right by Ali. Ali moving in on London. A fuselage of punches by Muhammad Ali. London goes down. The fight is over. Ali wins by a knockout. Muhammad Ali is still the undefeated world heavyweight champion and looks like he's at his brilliant best.
My last 3 fights were here in Europe, 2 in London, England, 1 here.
American networks still refuse to use Ali's new name.
Just over a month after beating Brian London, Ali was defending his title in Frankfurt, West Germany, against the European heavyweight champ, Karl Mildenberger.
Ali headed to Germany, where he was mobbed by European fans. They adored Ali in Europe. Against the European champion, Ali used the jab to devastating effect.
Muhammad Ali!
As the bell, we're ready for it.
And Ali took on the biggest, baddest, toughest guys on the planet.
See that?
These were tough guys, and Ali would just beat them into pulps.
Textbook stick and move.
The eye again now bleeding heavily. He was knocked down squarely with the straight right. Oh, Teddy Walton is stopping this bout. It's a technical knockout.
Ali's hard-earned victory in Frankfurt would be the last time the champion would fight on network TV for 7 years.
Back home in the States, the draft was intensifying. Protests were growing in numbers as more and more young men returned home in body bags.
He stood up for things when it was not popular, nor it did him no good to do that for his career other than to be a righteous individual.
After 4 fights abroad, Ali's promoters had finally managed to secure an American venue.
This is the Astrodome in Houston, Texas.
Blacklisting Ali had been a failure. It had made him a face of the counterculture.
Cleveland Williams, the big knockout artist from here comes Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, the heavyweight champion of the world.
The Texas crowd showered Ali with boos.
212 3/4 from Louisville, Kentucky, Muhammad Ali. 16 rounds.
And he was lambasted and booed.
Commander 28, we have a knockdown in round 2.
It was a masterpiece.
He's welterweight combination.
We had him going down on it, sitting down above it.
This is art. This is art, right? It's art because there was never a heavyweight that moved like this. People have to realize this just didn't exist, man.
1 minute and 5 seconds of the third round.
Heavyweight champion Cassius Clay goes through the final stages of training for the defense of his title against Ernie Terrell.
Terrell had got it into his head that he could rattle Ali's cage by calling him Cassius Clay.
Cassius Clay, yes.
Why do you want to say Cassius Clay when Howard Cosell and everybody is calling you Muhammad Ali? Then why you got to be the one of all people whose color to keep saying Cassius Clay?
Howard Cosell is not the one who's going to fight you. I am.
My name is Muhammad Ali, and you will announce it right there in the center of that ring after the fight if you don't do it now.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as the 2 contestants prepare for battle right now, back off, man! Back off!
It did not have the effect Terrell intended.
heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali.
He's the dancing master. He's the ring magician. He's the champion who has been labeled the fastest moving heavyweight in the entire history of 1 century of world heavyweight champions.
Terrell couldn't touch Ali.
A heavyweight who moved as quickly, like a lightweight, quicker than a lightweight, used his legs.
Ali pouring it on now, stinging, whipping punches. It's amazing that Ernie Terrell has taken such a beating and is still standing.
Ali handed out a beatdown in which he stood center ring and demanded Terrell address him by his proper name.
And Ali is really wailing, and he is screaming at him, "What's my name? What's my name?"
A brilliant boxing exhibition by champion Muhammad Ali as he receives a unanimous verdict.
This proves to the public and all of the doubters out there that Ernie Terrell has no class whatsoever, and you cannot compare him even in my ranking.
I don't think you have to say that, really. The man fought a courageous fight.
You would say everything if I'd lost, especially you.
The Draft Lottery, a live report on tonight's picking of the birth dates for the draft.
It was now when Ali got the news. His number had been called. He was going to be drafted and sent to Vietnam.
Go 10,000 miles away from home here in America to drop bombs and bullets on other innocent brown people who's never bothered us. And I will say directly, no, I will not go.
Ali was due to be inducted into the armed forces in the coming weeks.
What did Cassius say to you when you stepped into the ring and shook hands with him before the Terrell fight?
No,
Excuse me, Muhammad Ali.
Ali was set to take on Zora Foley at New York's Madison Square Garden.
Taking Zora Foley too lightly.
Why would you say that?
Because every indication has been that you're confident that you can beat Zora.
I'm confident I can whip all of them. This ain't nothing new. My image has been confident. What you're trying to make it look like something new for? I'm always confident I can whip all of them.
You're being extremely truculent.
Whatever truculent mean, if that's good, I'm there.
And with his military induction looming, Ali hinted before the fight that this might be the public's last chance to see him in action for a while.
Ali was aware there was a strong chance this would be the last time he ever entered a boxing ring.
We're just about ready to go here at Madison Square Garden. Muhammad Ali and Zora Foley scheduled for 15.
The gladiators are wearing 8-ounce gloves. Muhammad Ali, the white trunks. Zora Foley, the challenger.
With every victory scored in the ring, the people's champion gained cultural power.
And there's Foley down.
I am the greatest.
This would be the final time Ali fought for the next 3.5 years. The anti-Vietnam movement was gaining ground, and Ali was becoming the face of it.
Cassius Clay, or as he prefers to be called, Muhammad Ali, reports to an Army induction center in Houston, Texas. However, he says he will refuse on religious grounds to take the Army oath.
Friday in Houston was the champion's moment of truth. He showed up at the induction center but refused to step forward, bringing on the threat of prison and a shattered career.
As you have just seen, the heavyweight champion of the world has rejected induction into the military service.
Sentences you to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine.
The boxing powers took immediate action.
Boxing commissioners around the country immediately stripped him of his boxing licenses. An indictment by a federal grand jury would follow in May.
Muhammad Ali was unceremoniously stripped of his title.
It took an all-white jury less than a half hour to find Muhammad Ali guilty of all charges. He was sentenced by federal Judge Ingraham to 5 years in prison and was fined $10,000.
In a time where every young American boy feared being forced to fight in a war they wanted no part of, Muhammad Ali stood up for all of them and said no.
He had basically crossed the Rubicon. Didn't take long for them to strip him of his title.
Suddenly, it didn't seem so craven to be afraid to go into the army and fight this war.
Ali was no longer on the sports page, but the front page.
The New York
York, Joe Frazier knocked out Buster Mathis in the 11th round. With Muhammad Ali now out of the picture, that means that in New York, Massachusetts, Maine, Illinois, Texas, and Pennsylvania, Joe Frazier is now recognized as the heavyweight champion of the world.
MLK stood beside Ali again.
I think that he's doing what he is doing on the basis of conscience. I've talked with him about it, and I think he's absolutely sincere.
No matter what you think of Mr. Muhammad Ali's religion, you certainly have to admire his courage.
Legal segregation of restaurants, restrooms.
He means so much to me. He meant and means so much to so many people.
There were millions of young men my age eligible for the draft for a war that we didn't believe in, all of us huddled on the conveyor belt that was rapidly feeding the war machine. But it was Ali who stood up for us by standing up for himself.
Ali had the strength to speak in a time you could be silenced.
Martin Luther King was shot and was killed tonight in Memphis.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've kept the air on because we've heard an alarming report that Robert Kennedy was shot.
With Bobby Kennedy gone, Martin Luther King gone, Malcolm X gone, who was there to relate to when Vietnam exploded in our face?
The civil rights movement and the anti-war movement had merged, and America was boiling over.
He took loud, profound, powerful stance against racism at a time nobody did. Nobody did.
What about your unpatriotic remarks that you made? You said you were the people's champion? Yes, sir. Do you think that you're acting like a people's champion? Yes, sir.
After he was stripped of the title and the right to fight anywhere in the world, he gave speeches at colleges and on television that totally reached me.
They look for me to be on the trail to jail without bail.
In making a bankrupt and a felon out of this champion, they had made him a martyr and a hero.
I would like to hear this from you, and I want the world and the cameras to hear. Who's the heavyweight champion of the world?
They took away his money, his prizes, reduced his fame, slandered his name.
And my title will be taken without me being whooped. No! One more time. No!
They aimed to break him financially, imprison him, and silence him.
The mightiest government in the world come down on you, and yet we didn't compromise.
You my enemy. My enemy is a white people, not Viet Congs or Chinese or Japanese. Cassius had receded, and the man who became Muhammad Ali had transcended sport.
This nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed.
They were the police, jury, and executioner all in one.
You my opposer when I want freedom. You my opposer when I want justice. You my opposer when I want equality. You won't even stand up for me in America for my religious beliefs, and you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for me here at home.
There had been no arraignment. There had been no trial. There had been no conviction. The very essence of due process had been aborted.
After 3 years, Ali's case was overturned by the Supreme Court.
He appealed all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, and in 1971, his conviction was finally reversed.
Ali here today, a victor in his greatest fight ever. The Supreme Court exonerated.
At last, Muhammad Ali was back.
I haven't really went into training, and I haven't really been up against stiff competition in 3.5 years. But I figure if I condition myself, I could.
The time he was out would have been great. It would have been watching a master at work, because he had reached his full proportion, full maturity. So the world never got to see the best of Ali. What you got was plenty, but you didn't see the best of him.
You know, you got that window as a fighter, man.
Yeah.
It's like 4 to 6 years, and half of it was taken.
In a televised and sold-out sparring session, Ali showed he still had something left in the tank.
Well, yes, it really did. After being off 3 years and reading various write-ups about does he still have a speed, can he still dance, he's overweight, how would he look?
For his return fight, Ali took took on Jerry Quarry.
The fine heavyweight champion of the world?
Well, I don't think it'd be part because I don't think anybody took the title away from him in the ring, so I think we're fighting for the title.
In this auditorium, Muhammad Ali will try to show that the teeth of time have not gnawed away the sharp edges of his flashing attack. If his comeback fails, he'll become another sports might have been.
The question on everyone's mind was whether Ali could ever be the fighter he once was.
Now on the far side, coming in, of course, the crowd yelling, screaming, mixed boos. Here he comes, the first time, again stepping in as a heavyweight in an important fight since his last title defense 3.5 years ago. Muhammad Ali coming up with his handlers here. All right, we're ready to go. 2 minutes. Again, Clay utilizing the jab. Corey trying to get in the left hook. Muhammad is having quite a comeback, and he appears to be in excellent shape. There's a cut over Corey's left eye.
Ali looked sharp in his return. His jab sliced Quarry up. The ref stopped it after 3 rounds.
Referee Tony Perez standing directly above Corey's corner, watching him. And Perez is calling for the referee. Tony Perez has signaled the fight is over, apparently because of an eye cut.
It's a terrible cut, Tom. You and I both can see it.
The winner at the end of the 3rd round by a TKO, Muhammad Ali.
After his suspension for 3.5 years, he comes back and reinvents himself. Becomes a whole different Ali.
His next opponent made the fight personal.
Why you no go the army?
I will tell you Monday night in the first clinch we get in.
Chicken, you chicken. Beep, 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 chicken, beep.
Good deal. Keep talking.
Ringo Bonavini. Not a polished boxer.
Clay. Clay?
I said Muhammad Ali.
Clay?
You will call it when the fight comes off.
Clay?
Lost 2 decisions, a 10-rounder and a 15-rounder, the second for the heavyweight championship of the world, but never knocked down.
Clay?
Wait till the fight comes.
Clay?
Please tell everybody to get to your theaters. I've never had a man that I wanted to whip so bad.
Crowd roars now as Muhammad Ali comes down the aisle. April 28, 1967, Houston, Texas refused military induction. In the courts ever since. That's hell at all.
Threshold in his will.
Well, we'll see.
Oscar
Skill won for him the first. Skill was eroded. It was diminished. It was. He reinvented himself, and now instead of winning with skill, he won with will.
Chip of the world.
Now we have a chance to see who the real champion of the world is.
There was only one fight left to be fought in this country between Ali and Frazier.
At last, the fight of the century could be set between Joe Frazier and the now returned Muhammad Ali.
That's a slow, flat-footed, ugly, slow, awkward Joe Frazier gonna whip Muhammad Ali. If he dreamed it, he better wake up and apologize. I'm going to show you that I'm the real champion, and I'm going to stay here and let you take pictures, give you an interview every day I'm training, and show you that I'm still the real champ. How you going to have 2 champions of the world? He's an alternate champion. The real champion is back now. The champion of the world. I'll straighten you out. I beat Sonny Liston twice, and they wasn't convinced.
No, that's all over.
Let me finish.
Now you ain't fighting Sonny Liston.
You fight to me.
No, you listen. You listen now.
Let me finish something.
Look, I'm the champ. You ain't. You listen. You the champ. Right on. Now listen. That's all over. Sonny Liston is all over.
Now you ain't the champ.
Hey, listen for
Their first fight at Madison Square Garden in 1971 was dubbed the Fight of the Century.
2 unbeaten champions battling it out for supremacy.
Heavyweight boxers Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali meet in New York's Madison Square Garden Monday night in what one promoter calls the biggest fight since Cain tangled with Abel.
40 years ago, the entire sports universe was tuned in to Madison Square Garden, New York City.
Just listen to the noise
roars of this crowd. This is well going to be a great evening for boxing fans all over the world. Muhammad Ali in the ring in a beautiful, beautiful red and white robe.
The event was known as the Battle of Champions.
Now here comes Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier will be here any minute. He's coming out. Listen to the roar of this crowd. I want to tell you, this is going to be a spectacular evening. The tension and the excitement here is monumental.
Two champions, each with a claim to the title and undefeated records, rose to the top and faced each other that night.
For the first time in heavyweight championship history, we have two undefeated fighters in there. Frazier has won all 26 of his bouts with 23 knockouts, and Muhammad Ali has won all 31 of his bouts with 25 knockouts.
Muhammad Ali. Joe Frazier.
They were both somehow undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champions.
And now we're ready. Hundreds of millions are seeing this bout around the world.
And they were both under 30 at the time.
Frazier will try to bore in and catch his man.
Each fighter delivering crushing blows.
That was a hard left hook that caught Frazier. Muhammad Ali shakes his head and is warned for holding behind the neck. Round two.
As the fight went on,
A good exchange.
Frazier's power began to wear on Ali.
And Muhammad Ali may have been shaken. Frazier has been hit with solid right hands that would have felled an ordinary man. Just spits some blood. He is bleeding inside the mouth. Round three.
Round three.
If I just touch him one time, the left hook, he was gonna know about it.
That was going to be his style. He would take two to land one. He would take three to land one. But he would keep coming forward.
He's hit this man with his Sunday punches. And Joe keeps coming in.
That night, Joe Frazier was about as good a fighter as anyone has ever been, ever in the ring.
That's still a good jab. Powerful left hook by Frazier.
The first part of the round was all Muhammad Ali, but Frazier kept pouring in relentless.
Round five.
Round five.
Good 1-2 and a jab. Now Frazier is mimicking Ali. He's just smiling at him. That's the way Muhammad Ali used to taunt his opponents.
I don't see how this fight can go the distance.
The crowd has changed. Before they were yelling Ali, Ali. Now they're yelling Joe, Joe. And Joe says, come on out and fight. The bell hasn't sounded. There it is. Round eight.
Round eight.
Ali not to get that hand behind the neck.
I can still hear the roar that went up. All could hardly believe this was going to happen. And here it was.
Muhammad Ali holds on, but Joe's not rushing in there either. He's holding too.
Joe Frazier gave such an extraordinary effort.
That one hurt. So did that.
end of round 14, and what another great round it was. All right, this is the final round of the fight, and what a fight it's been.
16. Muhammad Ali is going to go boxing again.
Frazier dropped Ali with an iconic left hook.
Iconic left hook that drops him and cements the decision.
Champion of the world, Joe Frazier.
Joe Frazier. For the first time in his career, Muhammad Ali was beaten.
Frazier won the unanimous decision and was now the true undisputed heavyweight champion.
That he was in the hospital for more than a week after that fight, trying to recover from the fight. Nothing broken, just because he had used up all the fluids of life in that fight. And he was never the same.
Smoker Joe Frazier was the first man to defeat the legendary Muhammad Ali.
And when I do come back, if I ever do, I'll have more of a hunger, determination, which is something you lose in the intoxication of so-called greatness.
At this point, few believed Ali could ever recapture his former glory.
The body is now aging, a shell of what it used to be.
What am I going to do?
The man's beset by fear.
Cosell had often doubted Ali's capacity to regain his former glory.
Ali headed to Switzerland to fight their champ.
Just how far we will go if we're determined enough and trained enough. How far we'll go to accomplish something.
Well, if this head work and arm work gets a bit too rough, there's always a chance that Ali could get. I did the same when I was kind to Mathis, but I'm not showing any tonight, and he means it.
Come on, Carl! Let it fall! Let it fall!
The effect of those punches and soaked them up, but I don't think his heart could do it. It's all over. It's all over in round 7, and they're really throwing things into the ring here. It was a great finish by Muhammad Ali.
Next, a rematch with former champ Floyd Patterson.
Helping me to get ready for my rematch with Joe Frazier. This is why this fight means so much. It will help to get me in shape for Joe Frazier. And if I lose, I will not get a chance at Joe Frazier, so I must win.
Before the fight, Joe Frazier showed up for some fan adulation.
The fight.
The winner is Muhammad Ali.
But while Frazier was reigning atop the boxing world and Ali was reclimbing the mountain, a new challenger was rising.
Look at George pulverized.
I thought that with my fist, I could knock any man out.
Before Foreman was selling grills, he was handing out beatdowns.
Foreman's dynamite power in both hands is making him the scourge of the heavyweight division.
As fierce a puncher as has ever existed.
George Foreman is now the #1 contender for the heavyweight championship. And the question is, who's going to stop this Foreman steamroller? It looks like Muhammad Ali and even champion Joe Frazier will have to make room for this Houston Tornado, George Foreman.
A fight was made between Frazier and Foreman. Frazier was heavy favorite, although in hindsight that seems ridiculous.
Conventional wisdom heading into the Frazier fight was that George was a raw sort of rookie without the depth or the background to beat a great fighter like Joe Frazier.
Scoring 34 knockouts. He's 6'4" and has a reach of 78.5 inches. George Foreman, the challenger.
Because Joe Frazier had beaten Muhammad Ali,
and was undefeated. They didn't see how this young kid could win.
He was undefeated and was coming off the Ali win, and he was a 3.5 to 1 favorite.
I must break you.
And then he's got these hands that are literally like canned hams.
Yep.
And he just...
George was powerful. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he was out there to get me.
The beast, who was George Foreman, who had beaten Joe Frazier, beaten him up.
Foreman blasted Frazier, knocking him down 6 times.
It was absolutely devastating. No one could believe it. And from that point on, George was regarded as invincible.
People dropping death charges on me, man. I couldn't survive.
George Foreman was just a bear of a man at that point. He was sullen and distant and flat out scary.
You've been known as the hardest puncher ever.
Frazier has never taken this kind of punishment.
All I had was this one punch. And if I could hit you with I would hit you with it. I could take you out. If I missed you, you'd win on decision.
It's target practice for George Foreman.
Foreman's power was a weapon unlike any the sport had seen. Foreman annihilated Joe Frazier and took the crown.
The winner is George Foreman.
To be heavyweight champion of the world, as soon as it happens to you, it's like John L. Sullivan, Braddock, all the Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano, Mohammed. It's like they all just pour right into you, and you feel at that moment, you feel, I am the heavyweight champion of the world.
The crushing defeat upset the boxing world. Frazier's reign was over.
You must be bitter over the fact that Joe elected to go with Foreman, thus costing you and Joe a fortune of money.
It didn't cost me, like every other month I'm working. It takes longer, but whatever me and Joe would have earned, I'll do it in a year anyway. He's fighting 3 or 4 fellows here and there. But I wanted to be the one to whip him. That made me angry that I wasn't the one to whip him.
Ali took on Bob Foster next. He dropped him 6 times in 8 rounds.
A good right. Ali playing his game despite the blood, pretending to stagger. Another right. Oh, another knockdown, a quick left. The 6th knockdown of Bob Foster in this fight. He's a courageous man. But this, it seems to me, is the time to call it quits. It's over. It's over. It's a knockdown.
It looked for most that Ali and Foreman were on a collision course. There was just one more fight before Ali would get another title shot. Ken Norton.
Going as red, I'm gonna see Kenny Norton. Kenny Norton.
Kenny Norton, the young man who's been seasoned by sparring with Joe Frazier.
Muhammad Ali.
The bell for round 1.
Norton was a tremendous underdog. Just another tune-up for Ali.
Good left there by Norton. Now you see Ali for the first time beginning to dance. Ali started sluggishly, won the first as I saw it, lost the second round as I saw it, and then started to fight the Ali way as you see him now doing.
At some point in the fight, one of Norton's punches fractured Ali's jaw.
Unknown, unheralded youngster who really didn't seem to belong in the same ring with Ali. You're looking at a tired Muhammad Ali. Frankly, no one gave Kenny Norton a chance. As you look at the 2 fighters,
Norton was able to connect early and often on Ali.
One has to wonder, has he gone stale from the constancy of fighting, no matter the caliber of opponent?
One has to wonder, is it all suddenly going out of him? Is he now but a relic of the fighter he was? A countdown to the end of the fight. Ali's mouth is bloody. The left gets in, and a good right. He is all over Ali. This crowd is going wild. They are sensing a decision in favor of unknown Kenny Norton. Nobody can really believe what they have seen. It is a tired Ali and a hurt Ali. There it is! There it is! One of the greatest upsets again in boxing history.
Ali had been on the trail to recapture his stolen title.
A trail that may have ended with a broken jaw and a loss to sixth-ranked Ken Norton Saturday night.
Now, he was viewed as an aging has-been.
The talk is that Ali is finished, he's washed up, but I have a big surprise for the whole world. The bee has not lost his sting, and the butterfly still has his wings.
Some of his closest associates feel that Muhammad Ali has reached the end of the line.
With Ken Norton, the first man who ever managed to really silence him, and he did that, as you well know, by breaking his jaw in that last fight.
A dead end, or perhaps just a bend in the road. Jane Chastain, Channel 4 Sports.
Oh, the Muhammad Ali-Kenny Norton rematch. The scene set Monday night past Los Angeles, California.
Not even an hour before fight time, I don't think, in all the years I've known you, I've ever seen you so sternly subdued, so quiet. What does this mean?
Well, the atmosphere calls for it, Howard. As I heard you say on one sports show, that if I lose, I'm finished. You know, it shows you how people consider my talent.
I sensed the self-doubts. I sensed that he had begun to question himself, probably up at the training camp.
George Foreman, a heavyweight champion of the world. And
George has got on one of those new Hawaiian shirts.
With much of the world doubting him, Ali set a rematch with Ken Norton.
Between them in 73 fights, there's only been 3 losses.
If Ali lost this fight, it was unlikely he'd ever get another shot at the title.
Slings him with a left. And Ali definitely up on the toes, bud.
Ali simply couldn't avoid the punches like before.
Ask him, did he have on his dancing shoes? He has.
It was going to be a battle of will and heart.
The left jab by Ali. Heavyweight champ of the world, George Foreman, is leaving.
George can't stand for a fight to go over 2 rounds, I guess.
Ali still on his toes, still dancing.
Come back, George Foreman. You're missing a great fight.
Yes, he hurt Nardes again. He's hurt Norton. But a lot more at stake, particularly for Muhammad Ali.
He has said he might retire if he loses.
Norton's style appears changed, as though he had taken on a new respect for Ali's punching power.
Norton kept pounding away.
Oh, right in the breadbasket, and that hurt Ali. A man's entire fistic future may be riding on this round. And he's on his toes again. Ali with a beautiful combination. Ali coming on strong.
Ali had enough left in the tank to pull out the final round.
1 minute and 45 seconds to go.
But Norton's too tired now to punch back. I've got a feeling.
You got a feeling what?
I think that the comeback of Muhammad Ali has happened. I gave Ali the last round. I think that is the round that's going to win the fight for him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a split decision.
Muhammad Ali had won the split decision.
Right now, I want Joe Frazier.
You want Joe Frazier?
I want Joe Frazier. I'm going to retire soon. Foreman might duck me, but I want Joe Frazier. I want Joe Frazier.
The quest for another title shot was back on.
So the brothers are here.
This too?
No. Step down quick, Joe.
Well, we're having a scene.
Both were seeking a shot at the title. Both were standing in one another's way.
Smoking Joe Frazier.
was thought by most to be the end of the rivalry, since both fighters appeared headed toward the dark days of their career.
Having avenged both of his defeats, Ali set aim on the champ.
Big George Foreman. In his career, he's copied the baleful stare of the man who once was his boxing hero, Sonny Liston.
The devastating power of George Foreman is something of a legend.
George Foreman, when George Foreman wasn't selling grills, was the beast of all times.
Hit it, and he is knocked out. George Foreman.
Foreman had been on a tear, knocking out everyone he faced, most inside the first round or two.
Any of his fights, when he scored those big knockouts, he would really brutalize the guy before he got him out of there.
Final knockdown takes place. Look at Roman's eyes, utterly glazed. Foreman with that impassive face. Now, Foreman's being acknowledged as the winner. Roman still cannot get up.
Kenny Norton had split 2 fights with Ali, 24 rounds, and Ali was lucky to win the second one, and he broke Ali's jaw, and Foreman knocked them both out in 2 rounds.
And then turned around and lost to Muhammad Ali in 12 rounds on a split decision back in September. Combination of cheers and catcalls. Definitely the favorite here. As far as the crowd is concerned, is Ken Norton. As far as the odds are concerned, it's George Foreman.
The most menacing heavyweight of all time. It would be George Foreman.
I was going to be the best heavyweight that ever existed.
That he is with Ken Norton, and the reason for that, of course, is that he doesn't like George Foreman one bit. Do you really believe, Ali, that he can beat this man?
Yeah, the man went 24 rounds with me, broke my jaw in the first round. I was in shape the second fight.
In those days, he was a bully. The people around him were afraid of him. Foreman had really brutalized the people who trained him, and they were terrified of him.
Given the hell he gave me, as fast as I am, as accurate as I am, I couldn't whoop Ken Norton.
I had beaten the best in Joe Frazier. No doubt about it, I had beaten the best. People had something to say about that. I said, you know what? I'm going to kill one of these fellows. Then they'll shut up.
And it looks like Norton has really been staggered.
Foreman was the guy who destroyed Frazier, destroyed Kenny Norton.
Whipped by Kenny Norton, I knocked Kenny Norton out easily.
Once again, Muhammad Ali found himself in great demand. The WBC and the WBA mandated the fight. The public certainly wanted it, and the media clamored for it.
I think George Foreman will knock Muhammad Ali out, and it'll end Muhammad Ali's career.
The boxers were scared, handlers were scared. The only person that didn't appear scared of Foreman was Ali.
The Foreman that fought Ali, 40-0, 37 knockouts. Unbeatable, the guy's never gonna lose.
Everybody was scared, but Muhammad Ali himself.
And Ali is getting the people to chant, Ali Boumaier. That means Ali kill him.
True story. Ali is running in Zaire, in Kinshasa of Zaire, through the alley, and he comes across a mural of him crushing a warplane, as like a giant crushing a warplane, and he realized at that moment, this is bigger than him. He's affected the entire world. And so he had to beat George Foreman, who no one could beat, and he realized it's not just about him beating Foreman. He had to draw strength from all oppressed peoples all over the world because he was their champion. Now there's more
Ali
media.
Boumaier.
Right.
And Ali is getting the people to chant, Ali Boumaier. That means Ali kill him.
Have you fought many guys who were talkers in their ring?
No, I never get a chance to talk much. By the time you get to know a fella, it's all over.
As for the fight itself, discussion centered not on who would win, but on how much punishment Foreman would dish out.
The time may have come to say goodbye to Muhammad Ali.
And now we understand that George Foreman is about to make his way to the ring.
Because very honestly, I don't think he can beat George Foreman.
Cosell was convinced that Ali was washed up.
This guy was the closest thing to a human monster I'd ever seen before. He was certainly the scariest boxer.
Look at this now as they stare. Muhammad Ali beginning to talk to George Foreman. They're really putting the stare on each other.
I looked him in the eye to stare him down and said, "Oh, George, you were in school when I was beating Sonny Liston."
Gone in the past 4 years beyond 2 rounds in any fight. Wow, left hand thrown by George Foreman.
He knew that the one weakness in this monster, who was thought of as unbeatable, was his stamina.
The first round, all of us yelled out, "Get off the ropes." And he would just say, "Shut up, I know what I'm doing."
Well, I would say that the round was very even, of course, actually.
And Ali totally got into the guy's head, and he didn't even realize it.
Ali had a chance to upset the world one more time.
It was Muhammad Ali's fertile mind that created the rope-a-dope.
Here we go, round number 2 to determine Ali. Get off his stool in between rounds. George Foreman sat down all the way. Ali leans on the rope. Twisted didn't see it, prodding him.
Starting second or third round, when he went to the ropes, he was calling Foreman all kinds of names, anything of ugliness you can think of.
Continues to talk. Definitely serious. Tremendous combination.
He fought just like your initial bums, just lay on the rope and take a whipping. This time he did it with character. He said, "Hey, I'm going to weather this storm."
The rope-a-dope was something that was invented by Muhammad Ali that night.
I must say, I don't understand those tactics, Joe, of staying on the ropes and letting him hit.
It just shows you the power of intellect and intelligence and how that can compete against anything.
And believe me, I was a big, powerful giant in the ring with Muhammad. I mean, a knockout artist. He stood up to me.
Foreman setting him up against the rope. Look at him whispering in the ear of Foreman.
George Foreman, so young, so strong.
Not supposed to do, leaning up against the ropes. 4 punches downstairs on Ali.
So fearless.
I had him beat. I really did. And really thought I had him beat up in the body, had him tired.
Continues to talk,
Against George Foreman, he does away with his opponents, one after another, in less than 3 rounds.
George not going that type of distance a long time. He was treading in water, never been in before.
This is the furthest that George Foreman has gone in a fight since 1972. Misses the right hand. Ali is definitely confusing him.
Missing the shots that he missed, it drained him.
Look at Foreman's face. He does look tired.
Nobody knew the strength of Muhammad Ali. He was manhandling him, just like Archie said, grabbing him, and he emptied the guy's tank.
I was afraid he was going to get killed by a George Foreman that many of our young viewers don't know.
I thought he was hurt. I thought his body was hurt. And he came back. He hit Foreman with everything, and he winked at me.
Yes, there's no doubt about it. He winked right over here to this corner.
The guy really was the people's choice. And he was the people's choice because he loved them.
Yes, I'd hate to predict any fight, but my goodness, those people who said Foreman would win in a flash have certainly been proved wrong.
Then about the 7th round, he asked me, "That all you got, George?" That was like a nightmare.
I couldn't believe it. I just knew I was going to knock him out in a few seconds. And after 8 rounds, down I'm laying on the canvas, listening to a referee. I was embarrassed.
Who's the greatest? Greatest of all time.
Ali has done it. The great man has done it.
Against all odds, Ali had upset the world again.
I told you, all of my critics, I told you all that I was the greatest of all time when I beat Sonny Liston. I told you today, I'm still the greatest of all time.
Muhammad Ali recaptured his stolen title. and was now the heavyweight champion of the world. He was already an icon. Now, mobbed by fans and followed by the press wherever he went, he was a living legend. The People's Champ.
You ain't kidding, any blood on the shoulder? Yeah.
A name synonymous with greatness, etched into the annals of sports history.
Boxing champion Muhammad Ali.
I am the greatest.
Hey, the referee stops the fight. It'll be scored.
He loved people, and he loved the adulation of the crowd.
Joe Frazier will fall.
All of us thought it was going to be a nice, easy fight,
Come on, Gorilla. We in Manila.
where Ali comes out, dances around, the heat, the thump, ba-dum, and knocks him out in 7-8.
A lot of people thought Joe Frazier was washed up.
Joe, no, we got something for you. You have. You better believe it.
He was once described as the world's most famous man, and indeed it's difficult to think of even a contender.
This is almost certainly Frazier's last chance to regain the title. He collects $2 million for this appearance against his arch-enemy and rival, Muhammad Ali. He's telling Frazier what he's going to do to him, and Frazier's talking back.
They left pieces of themselves in the ring that night.
Each man aimed to destroy the other, hammering away.
Conducting his own private car. Whatever happens, it's some fight.
And slowly,
Their pride, their heart, it was still full.
notoriously brutal.
The punches reached right down into his boots.
Had an awful lot of trouble coping with Ali's fast hands.
Several times he landed very hard punches on Ali, and I thought Ali was gone.
Now doubly hooking with that left hand. Round 10, scheduled for 15.
Two of the greats going at it nearly killed each other.
Between rounds, before the 10th, I heard Ali say something to you that I never heard him say before. What was that?
Ali later said it was the closest thing to death he could imagine.
Score sometimes. They've very nearly given it all by now. His mouth is bleeding. And Frazier reels about the ring on rubber legs. He doesn't know where he is or what he's doing.
I think it's going to be over. It's all over.
After 14 rounds of back and forth brawling, Frazier's corner stopped the fight.
Years later, Muhammad Ali said that if God ever called him to a holy war, he wanted Joe Frazier by his side.
Ali won, but Frazier had dished it out as well as he had received. Neither man would ever be the same again.
And a great fight, for people, but a damaging fight. A fight where much of them was left in the ring that night. Much of them was left in Manila.
Instead of retiring, Ali continued on. He successfully defended his title 6 more times.
Look, he's catching us, I think. Sit down. Oh, combination. 5 in a row. Left and right too fast. Cooper is down. Cooper is down. So again, Muhammad Ali has successfully defended his heavyweight championship. Knockout of the 5th round.
Before facing Leon Spinks.
There's no explaining why a guy comes back.
They knew.
It's tough to take away the glamour, the allure, the lights.
I would think that Muhammad Ali will have won back the heavyweight championship for the 3rd time. 11 years older than Spinks.
With Muhammad Ali, retirement was a dirty word.
Muhammad Ali
now in the ring, awaiting the arrival of Larry Holmes.
And he was really suffering from Parkinson's already.
Was he really?
Yeah, I was already kicked in.
Evidence of some speech problems. It was a fight Ali never should have taken.
Larry Holmes teeing off on him. Ali gets to his feet ever so slow for the 10th round.
He was a shell of himself as a boxer at that particular moment in time, and it actually broke Larry Holmes' heart.
Yeah, it was like hitting a slow-moving heavy bag.
Game's over. I'm the chief second. All right. I stopped the fight. All right.
The Muhammad Ali story is a triumphant story because he did triumph, and he did change his own life, and he changed the lives of so many other people.
He was kind of a skinny-like kid. The first fight I put him in, he weighed 89 pounds.
Heavyweights Jimmy Jones and Cassius Clay square.
Impossible is just a big word thrown around by small men. Who find it easier to live in the world they've been given than to explore the world they have to change.
He was somebody that had principles. He stood for something.
The world lost a true icon, Muhammad Ali.
You're being extremely truculent. Whatever truculent mean, if that's good, I'm that.
Ali forced us to take a look at ourselves.
Oh, another right hand!
This brash young man who thrilled us, angered us, confused, and challenged us, ultimately became a silent messenger of peace.
Round 5, the champion Ali says, I'm putting you away now. Get ready, you're going down.
He was one of the most influential people of the 20th century and one of the most dominant athletes in the history of sports.
I'm the greatest of all time.
Cassius, how do you rate yourself as a fighter?
I wouldn't want to do too much bragging about it, but everybody that watches me fight or everybody that has witnessed one of my bouts, they say that I am the greatest that they've ever seen.
And he whispered in my ear, little brother, you made my life better than it was.
I am the greatest.
But didn't he make all of our lives a little bit better than they were?
Nobody brings it home like Joe Vincent. Nobody.
Make it so.